It's another wonderful day and welcome to Trisolace. So this morning we are in a cocoa farm. That is the cocoa used for chocolates and other confectionaries like that. What we do is that we gather dried leaves, the falling off cocoa leaves, and then we use that to insulate our pen. We also use that as a form of covering for the snails. So this is a very remote area where we have a lot of dead leaves or dead cocoa leaves. So why we use the dead cocoa leaves is that they take a very long time to rot or decay, and that gives us that gives the snails ample time. If you use stuff like dried plantain leaves and all that, it doesn't really go very well for the snails because they decay a lot faster than this one. So that is callings there, and then we are gathering a lot of the dried cocoa leaves where we'll further treat it because most of these have a little bit of pesticides, but we chose cocoa like this because you can see there's a water body there. It's closer, so these places do not do well, so the farmers do not spray a lot of pesticides here. So we do a strategic picking where we are sure that most of the dried leaves will not have a lot of pesticides on them, and then we further treat it by doing a steam treatment option where we do for most of our pen. So these are cocoa trees, or the cacao trees as it's called in other places. And then we are early morning risers looking into picking all these things for our snails. So we are heavily geared because last time we had a lot of bites, insect bites and all that, but now we're prepared. We are taking as much as possible so we can. And there are other sacks there, as you can see, other sacks, and that is callings right there. So we are picking a lot of them and sending it onto the farms, and we have moved onto our farms permanently. That is where we're going to stay now. So we've moved the Atonsu, the Kumasi one, to the Anyankwanta. We've moved everything, including the boxes that were used for research and for other purposes, for incubation and hatching of eggs and all that. We've moved them to the Anyankwanta or Humasi branch. So now we are consolidated. We are on one large plot, and then that is what we are doing. So early morning rises, we come, we pick the dried cocoa leaves, which looks like this, and then they take a very long time. Even whilst it's dry, it's very strong still. So that's why we prefer this as compared to other traditional forms of or other organic forms of covering for our snails. So this is what we are doing this morning. And you can see their cottage, their little cottage there. And these guys are generous enough for us to pick because there's a lot here. And what it does is that it prevents excess loss of moisture. So even here, it acts as a mulching material. So mulching materials are materials that are applied to one to prevent excess loss of moisture. It also controls erosion because if you look here, so far as there are these coverings there, even though the soil is not, it doesn't look very good. It has a lot of stones and pebbles in there, but because of the mulching, when it rains, there wouldn't be any erosion because the leaves will be taking the heavy fall of the rains or the droplets, and then they will slide off the leaves and go into a water body like this. So these are the cocoa plants, and even though they need very little sunlight, but these are, I think, too much clustered. I think they are too close to each other. And then the mulching material also rots and add up to the organic fertilizer or organic content of the soil. And it also increases the presence of insects because insects are the animals that actually do well for the environment. So this is a typical example of the leaves. This is going rotten and it will turn dark very soon, and then it will fall off. So leaves like these are what we look out for, and then they will fall and turn brownish or black, and then these are the ones that we pick. So we pick them selectively. We go around and then we gather them. So before you get a sack full, it's quite a tedious task, but that is what we're doing today. So invest in an opportunity you can see. Invest in Trisolace. Snails are the future, because these guys recycle household waste and then they turn it into food for us humans. You spend very little on feed, unlike poultry or other farm animals. They are very good, they are quiet, they do not smell, they do not make noise, so you can raise them anywhere in your vicinity and still be very, very profitable. So these are this is the water body, the little water body around that sometimes farmers tap to water their vegetables in the houses. And then there are a lot of dried leaves, so they preserve their water body from direct moisture loss, from evaporation and other forms of moisture loss. So these are other cocoa trees, and these are the sacks that we've gotten so far. So we brought our own sacks, and then we took quite a large number of it. And these are the dried leaves, like I said earlier. So these are the cocoa pods. This is a rather big tree here, and these are the cocoa pods. These are unripe, they are not ripe yet, so they will ripe very soon. But this shape means it's having it's diseased, or having, and this is also diseased, so it means that they have not actually been putting a lot of pesticide here, which is very good for us, because it sort of retains, it helps us get a natural form of cover for our snails. And then I also read that cocoa do not like a lot of water, so that's why I think those around the water bodies are not very well developed, like this particular one, and these ones are all almost dead. And I think it's because of the water body, because the land is a bit slopey, so whatever water will run off and come and settle here. And it's good sometimes, and it's also bad sometimes, because they do not love a lot of rain or water. So that is what we are doing today at Trisolace. Every day we'll bring you interesting videos of what happens on the farm, what we do every blessed day. And then we say, invest in something you can see and hold. Adios.